Maybach music.
Welcome back to another Everyman Movie Critic, where we bring the love of movies back to you. And this week, as always, it's me, Johnny B, and Scott's actually here. Not his sister. She was kind of cute.
Well, thank you. I do try.
Not that hard.
That's what she said.
So this week we're going to do... That's my line. This week we're going to do part 2 of comic book movies. Hit or misses. Last week we discussed quite a bit, so this week we're going to bring up some of the ones that I had written down that Scott painfully reminded me that we didn't touch on for a reason. So we'll start out with one of the good ones. That was Hellboy. And it actually was, first two with Ron Perlman were really good.
He's awesome.
Then they remade it with Daniel Harbour, or David Harbour, from Success from Stranger Things. And it was okay, but it was one of those cases where successfully not so much in the box office. The fans weren't really big on it. And it's just one of those things where you just can't make another Hellboy when you have Ron Perlman out there who set the bar so high on that character. Did you see the new one?
I did not see the new one. He did look from the trailers. He looked like he was going to do a good job. But I mean, Ron Perlman was awesome.
But that, he's Hellboy.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's very hard to pick up that same character with a new person and expect people to. And David Harbour, like he said, he did a great job in it, and he was very, very Hellboy. You know, he had that same mannerisms. He brought if you watch Stranger Things, he brought his Jim Hopper, mentality toward it, and it was like Jim Hopper playing, Hellboy, down on his luck, kind of guy. All right, so Hellboy then we had Sin City, which had 2 movies made, both directed by, I believe, Robert Rodriguez. Now, the reason why the second one didn't do so well is because it waited too long to make it. They had too much of a gap in between, and the first one was a novel kind of movie, Sin City.
Yeah.
The sequel, The Dame to Kill For, just... It didn't have the same... I mean, they tried to rehash a lot of the same stuff from the first one. They didn't really go anywhere new with it. It was just... It just wasn't as good.
Bruce Willis is good. Jessica Alba was good.
In the first one.
Yeah, in both of them.
I don't remember Bruce Willis in the second one. I know Mickey Rourke was
a smaller part.
I know Mickey Rourke was in it. Was in the sequel. And Eva Green.
Who was Elijah Wood? He was weird.
He was in the first one, wasn't he?
I think it was the first one with the glasses. And
the boss's son?
Yeah, he was so weird, that character. I enjoyed him.
Well, he was trying to break his mold from playing Frodo. So I think he had to do something to let people know he had a little more range than playing a hobbit. And he definitely did his best to do that. But yeah, Sin City 1 was really good. Now
I liked them both. I enjoyed them both.
Now another Frank Miller comic, and this is something I was thinking, was The Spirit, where they actually try to have Frank Miller himself direct The Spirit, and the movie just did not do well. It had the same kind of visual stylization as Sin City, where they had mixed with the black and white with the color, where it was more black and white than anything, and for some reason people just didn't catch on to it. And Samuel Jackson, I think, was in it as a bad guy, and for some reason nobody took onto it. And I think it has more of a cult following now, but I think overall, nobody was a big fan of it. Did you ever see Spirit?
Yes, I saw The Spirit.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was just as good as just like you said with The Shadow and with Phantom. It was just as good as them. I mean, it wasn't a spectacular movie. It wasn't something that I'd run out and watch.
It was different.
Yeah, something that you watch once and you're good with, and it's a decent movie. I mean, if you watch it a second time, it's because you weren't quite sure about stuff and you wanted to watch it again to make sure you caught everything, all the little things that you missed.
That's a good point. There's a lot of movies out there like that where you want to watch it the second time when there's so much packed into it. You just want to see it the second time just to see if you missed anything, or just because you love the movie so much you wanted to watch it more than once. And I'm a victim of that. I'll watch a movie if I like it 100 times.
There's a few movies that we watch like that. I mean, I watched Night at the Roxbury like a million times.
And if you haven't watched our video about SNL actors who made it versus ones who didn't, check it out. And I don't know if I mentioned that movie. I think we did. With Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan.
I'm pretty sure we did.
But somebody was mentioning in the comments that we didn't mention Will Ferrell, and I could have sworn we did. But
I think we missed him.
But if we talked about Night at the Roxbury, we had to have talked.
We
about
talked I think we said a second about him, and then we started talking about Chris Kattan not making it.
Well, we are going to do a video on comedy duos, so.
Yeah, so we'll catch up on him later.
All right, so Sin City. Now we have Jonah Hex, which again, another comic book movie that wasn't a huge hit. Mm-hmm. I do like Josh Brolin. He's good he makes a lot. It seems like he's doing a lot of comic book movies now. He did that. He's played Thanos. He's played Cable in the Deadpool 2.
See, now with Jonah Hex, I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. But honestly, when you gotta say that Megan Fox was the best part of that movie, then you know that it was not the best.
Then you know
movie.
You're in trouble, folks.
And I like her as an actress, but she's definitely not the.
She's eye candy, is all she is. She was good in the first Transformers.
Yes, I loved her in that.
And that's another video we're gonna be doing soon. That's comic book or cartoon turned into movies. So we have Jonah Hex, but then we have a good one with Keanu Reeves back in his heyday. Well, now he's more in his stride now with his John Wick movies and now making another Matrix. But he was in Constantine, and I like that movie.
Constantine is good.
The guy who played the devil in that was awesome.
I think
he was actually in John Wick.
Yeah.
He was the villain in the first John Wick. No, the beginning of the first John Wick movie. The Russian guy who we had a drink with. That's the guy who played the devil in Constantine. I just realized that light bulb just came on.
I think Constantine. I mean, I didn't really see that. I saw parts of that movie. I didn't see the whole thing. It's something I definitely did want to see. But as far as actors go, I love Keanu Reeves. But I think the guy that's on the TV show Legends of Tomorrow is a perfect one for that. And
he started out as having his own show, and then they were like, "That's not good enough."
I think they just killed him off. So I don't know. Just the last episode.
I thought it was Adam.
No, they killed him.
Well, I know Adam is leaving.
Is he?
Yeah, they were saying Brandon Routh was upset. It wasn't his choice. They for some reason wrote him off the show.
And I know him. He disappeared.
And he's another actor who does a lot of those comic book movies. He did Superman.
Mm-hmm. He was good in Superman.
Now he's in this.
He was the one right after Christopher Reeves, right?
He was in Superman.
Who was the one
Returns.
that came right after Christopher Reeves?
Yeah.
That was him. I liked him.
Well, if you're talking about TV show, then it was Tom Welling.
I'm talking about the movies. Christopher Reeves and then him. And they
kind of
replayed. Yeah, and he was. I liked him. After him, I didn't like him so much.
Superman. See, this tangent is good because it's still a comic book movie. Superman Returns was decent. The Kevin Spacey was awesome as Lex Luthor. And I don't know. I wouldn't say he did a better job than Gene Hackman because I thought Gene Hackman's
in my opinion,
take on what's his name Lex Luthor was awesome.
My opinion, the best Lex Luthor was definitely from Smallville.
The TV show. Yeah.
A
lot of people agree with you.
He did a great job. I mean, now the TV show one version is
John Cryer. I can't see him with a bald head.
He's just a bald version of I see him on
Can't do it, folks.
What was that? The one with Charlie Sheen and then Ashton Kutcher took over. What was that show?
3 Men and a Baby or something or
no, it's like Two and a Half Men. 2.5 Men, yes. Yeah, I just can't see him as Lex Luthor I picture that guy.
Well, no, for me it was Ducky from Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
That's how he's always going to be as a goofy actor, and yes, I know that
he plays goofy that too.
Well, you have to take Lex Luthor serious because he's a genius.
Yeah.
And Jesse Eisenberg, I do agree with people. He was a really bad casting for Superman for Lex Luthor Jr. In the Man of Steel movies or Batman v Superman. Yeah, he was definitely not the right choice for that. I had heard Bryan Cranston's name, and I was like, that would work because he's already been bald on Breaking Bad. He proved that he could do a sinister genius. So why they didn't cast Bryan Cranston is a very missed opportunity. Guys, do you agree with us on that? Who should have played if Bryan Cranston would have made a better Lex Luthor, let us know in the comments. Or who you think was the best Lex Luthor, let us know in the comments of that too. Was it the one from the TV show, from Smallville, or was it Gene Hackman or Kevin Spacey? Who do you guys think? Alright, so we can go on to, now in the vein of Superman, we have Steel. And if anybody knows the comics, Scott can explain who Steel's supposed to be.
When Superman died, well, he'd already been around before Superman died. Steel is basically the Black Superman. He has a suit on there. He's
African American Superman.
He's just known as the Black Superman.
No, I know.
But
trying to stay PC, folks.
yeah, but it doesn't matter with that part. He if you know the legends of John Henry, who used the hammer to try and beat the train, it's basically taken that character.
Beat the train or the train tracks?
He was hitting the train track. It was a train, or I mean, a machine versus him. They had a race. This was a legendary thing, like Paul Bunyan from Minnesota. It's one of the legendary people.
Who says you can't learn about history here, folks?
Mm-hmm. But anyway, they took his character. He's John Henry. They made him into a Superman. He has a hammer, but
Steel
he's
armor, right?
Steel armor. Yeah,
He couldn't fly though.
No.
I thought he did in the movie.
He's
With Shaquille O'Neal.
He is a what do you call it? Maybe a genius, but he's more of like a mechanical genius type of thing.
Okay.
So he can create things. But Steel was one of the people that came to protect.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. See, that's what this channel's all about, guys. Helping you relive movies, go watch movies again, movies you never heard of, want to hear about. Go watch movies and enjoy them.
Shaquille O'Neal did a great job. I thought he fit the part. I mean, I'm not saying that Shaquille O'Neal's a great actor. I mean, he did a good job in the basketball movie, but yeah, he did a good job with that.
Yeah, he was awesome in
Blue Chip.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite movies. But we're going to talk about basketball movies. That'll be in the top one.
Could be during March Madness.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Oh, yeah, very true. So, Steel. And then another one that was not so good in the same universe. It seemed like DC had a lot of misses back in the day. They're just starting to hit their stride now. Now that they decided to stop trying to connect everything and just make decent movies like Wonder Woman and Aquaman. They did really good. Shazam did really good. But the next one I was going to talk about is Catwoman. And I'm talking about the one with Halle Berry.
Yeah. Well, that's the only Catwoman they made.
And they try to change the mythos of Catwoman, that it wasn't just Selena Kyle or whoever. It could have been anybody in history. They had different ones from history that became from the old Persian gods.
You gotta think.
That's what they were going for.
But you gotta think something character. Too. What I took it as is, you know how in the '60s TV show
Martha Kidd,
they had 3 or 4 different Catwomen. One of them was a black lady.
Well, there was 3. Julie Newmar.
Mm-hmm. She was awesome.
Lee Merriweather and Eartha Kitt.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 3.
3, okay. I didn't know if there was 3 or 4, but I knew there was at least 3, and they changed them around. So I mean, it is something that.
But they were just because they had they were recasting the same person.
Yeah.
It's not like now it wasn't even Selena Kyle anymore. It was now another woman.
Yeah.
Who could be more than one Catwoman in the world is what that movie was going for.
Well,
and Halle Berry was huge in the '90s.
I like her, but she did a horrible job as that.
Oh, I agree. I thought it was a god awful movie.
I mean, there's certain things, especially like the movie.
And that's coming from me, the movie guy, because I couldn't get into it.
Just like one of my friends, our friend that actually watches our show, he's a huge Batman fan, and as far as that goes, I'm not
saying his name because I don't like him.
But anyway, you
heard me say that. I don't like you.
We are. We know the Batman universe, and it's like there's certain things that for me that
did he like that movie, or that
I don't know. You have to ask him with that. But as far
he said he's too good to come into our show. So
as far as that goes,
he's gonna.
You gotta think. You gotta think about the movie that you just watched recently. You made a video on was Birds of Prey.
But that was a critical success. Like the critics liked it,
but
the fans liked it. But for some reason, it just wasn't hitting.
The people in there were not good people for it. I mean, the person that
The
doesn't
only
even-
one I'll agree with you on that is Rosie Perez. I thought
Rosie
everybody
Perez-
else was really good.
She didn't even belong in the movie. She's not part of Birds of Prey, and she's
But
not part of.
I heard that she kind of is.
She's not.
in the comics.
I looked it up. I looked it up to see if she ever was.
Well,
and
then
she's
every
not in
video
there.
on YouTube that says otherwise needs to look into that. Because
Yes, they need to because I looked it up and
I
saw.
hear that she was supposed to be in there. She was the
She's a cop.
cop.
Yeah. Oracle, who was.
They should have had
is-
Oracle.
Yes, they needed Batgirl in there.
Well, the original concept of the movie was supposed to be Gotham City Sirens
Hmm.
with Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy's love interest, Harley Quinn, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's what it was supposed to be about.
That
And
would have
her
been perfect.
emancipation from the Joker and joining these two other women.
They've
and then
gone
it
on
somehow
together.
morphed into this god-awful... Well, actually not god-awful, but it was a good movie. It was a decent movie.
No, I'm sure
And I
it
forgot
was.
to mention this, but what's his name? Ewan McGregor. I didn't say this in my review, but Ewan McGregor was awesome.
I bet he was. He
As
looked like
Black
a-
Mask.
Black Mask. I mean, when I've read comics of him fighting the best superhero ever, Nightwing, he definitely.
He was very sinister in this movie.
Yeah, he's very good. I mean,
But he also had some good comedic timings in there too.
yeah.
And it just had a lot of great action. If you guys want to see more about this, go watch my review. I'll leave a link up above.
I'm
It's
sure
not
it's.
there.
I'm sure it's.
It's right there, Scott.
Gotcha.
Maybe I'll leave it over your head this time.
So, you usually put them right in front of my face so nobody can see me.
No, I
But-
did the little eye as
But
in info.
but
And
yeah,
maybe
they
people don't want to see you.
could be. But yeah, no, I mean when the Batman universe is, I mean you got to have the actors just didn't fit for a lot of things. So I think she's the same way with that. mean,
I don't
didn't
know. The
like
girl who
those-
played Huntress was awesome, and the girl who played Black Canary, she was awesome too. With her scream, that was awesome.
Yeah, I think the ones that are on the TV shows are better than them, but
Now, a little off the topic, we were going to talk about this one.
yeah.
The one that I liked the most was Barbed Wire. I love that movie. I thought it was one of the best bad movies I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot. And he was going to mention Vampirella, which is in the same vein as
Yeah,
Barbed
it's-
Wire, I guess.
when you mention Barbed Wire, I think of Vampirella too. Vampirella is one of the movies that I loved.
Who's in it?
I don't know.
Guys, if you know who's in Vampirella, leave a comment below and tell me the name of the actress.
I was enjoying the movie, but I'm gonna
Was
be
it live
honest with you.
action?
Yeah, it's a live action movie. But
No, I don't know.
I have never finished it because I keep falling asleep in it. It's kind of like
Well, there's a real good plug for it now, isn't it?
I want to
Guys,
watch
if you
it.
want a good nap,
No, it's not a good.
check
nap.
out Vampirella.
It's something that I'm not sure why I kept falling asleep. But
Scott
it's the
gives
same
his
thing.
thumbs up for that one.
Yes, I do for Vampirella. And
Hey, we can't do that. That's Siskel and Ebert. We have to come up with our own rating system.
Well, you're the one that did it. I'm just saying, Vampirella is one of the movies that I fell asleep watching it. The same thing as watching Wizard of Oz, and
You can't
trying
sleep.
to watch
Watch Vampirella.
Shining. Those
What
movies.
the hell does that have to do with?
Those are the movies that I've said I fell asleep watching. But Vampirella is, from what I watched of it, it's really good, and I've tried to. I can't find it right now, so if anybody can find it, please give us a.
Did you look on Amazon?
I've looked all over for it. I haven't been able to
Another
find it
cheap
lately.
plug that we're not going to get any royalties from.
But Vampirella, I definitely suggest watching because from what I was watching of it, it looked really good. It's if you like Barbed Wire, you're definitely gonna like that because it's the same type of shooting and style and everything.
Then the other one I was mentioning that was a cartoon movie that Stan Lee did, a cartoon series, where he tried right before the MCU was Stripperella, and talking about Vampirella. And that's what I thought you were talking about at first.
No,
I've never seen
I thought
Stripperella.
you thought I was talking about Barbarella.
Barbarella, that's a comic book movie, technically.
I guess I don't know. I have watched that. I didn't like that as much.
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon was awesome.
I love that movie. That's another one of those. It had one of the best soundtracks, but
Yeah.
that's another video. Now this one, I hear they're finally remaking Spawn with Michael Jai White. He is awesome in that movie, and John Leguizamo was a great the clown demon, whatever his name is,
That's
the
just
Eliminator or whatever his name is.
It was on TV just recently.
But again, it was not a big critical success. It was not a financial success. You can stop doing that now. I already made it a point to tell people
I
that
know.
we agree that just because it doesn't make a lot of money doesn't make it's not good.
I don't have to stop doing it.
And then they made us Seth MacFarlane or whatever. Seth
MacFarlane yeah, that's a cartoon from
Family Guy. So who's the guy who does Spawn? Todd McFarlane.
Yes.
He actually made a TV series on HBO about Spawn.
Very good. You gotta turn your lights off when you watch it.
Why?
It says so right in the beginning.
Because they want you to have a seizure in the middle of it?
It says right there in the beginning to turn the lights off.
Well, it was a great show, and I don't remember that, but the movie was awesome. They're talking about remaking it. The other one that I was going to talk about that I didn't write on here was Blade. That's the one that started it off for Marvel. If it wasn't for that movie, we probably would not have the MCU now.
All the Blade movies were pretty good.
Because Wesley, and they are making a new Blade with a new actor playing him, which Wesley Snipes gave him the thumbs up to do. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but he's a really good actor. Mahershala Ali. Okay, I have my son over there feeding me information. You have to be here every other Saturday now. Mahershala Ali. He was in quite a bit of movies. He was in Alita Battle Angel. He did a really good job in that. He's been on some HBO shows. He was on the TV show Luke Cage on Netflix, and he's going to be the new Blade in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I digress. The point is that if it wasn't for the success of Blade, the first one, we would not have the MCU now, because it was a huge critical and commercial success. Wesley Snipes was awesome. They made 2 sequels to it, which were progressively. The second one was really good. The third one, so-so. Him fighting Dracula, I thought that was a little. They definitely watered down Dracula and his powers in that movie.
In what one?
In Blade Trinity. They watered him down horribly. I was like, that's not Dracula that I know. I mean, they did have a lot of on-the-nose humor in there. Like, he went to this Dracula shop, and there was like the Count Chocula cereal, and there was the Dracula masks and stuff. Like, Dracula actually exists in pop culture. They used that, which I thought was a little on the nose, but what are you going to do? You have to sell tickets to
Wesley
movies.
Snipes did a good job with that. I enjoyed
He did,
that.
but actually I heard he was very unhappy with working with Ryan Reynolds. He didn't think Ryan Reynolds was... But by that point, Wesley Snipes was pretty much a prima donna on all his movies, and he didn't get along with directors, and you could kind of tell that movie did suffer because Wesley Snipes did not come around unless he was time to film. He did not like working with Ryan Reynolds. He thinks the guy was too much of a goofball.
Oh.
And you could that kind of worked into their chemistry in the movie too. And you have an example of a WWE wrestler in there, Blade Trinity. Hunter Helmsley.
Oh yeah, he was in that one.
Triple H.
Triple H.
He was one of the vampires in that movie, and he did a decent job. We didn't mention him but he hasn't had a huge movie career though.
The Chaperone was pretty good.
Never saw that.
Oh, you're missing a good one.
Guys, am I missing a good one with The Chaperone? Please tell me in the comments. Because I haven't seen it. I guess it's one of those ignorance is bliss things. And I'm very happy. But yeah, so we had the Blade movies. Ghost Rider. That was a good one.
I love that.
The first one they said was too far from the comic, but then they said the second one got closer to what the villains were in the comics.
Yeah, I gotta say, my dad loved the first one. We watched it in our local movie theater.
Well, Nick Cage is awesome.
Yeah, and then the second one I watched. I don't think he saw that second one, but the first one.
He's one of those actors that can do anything. He could do drama.
Oh, yeah.
He won an Academy Award. Then he did
Superman.
comedies. Then he did those goofy '80s movies. And then he's now done action. He's done horror. He's done everything.
He wanted to be Superman.
Face Off. He was Superman. They just never filmed the movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a documentary out there about that. What happened to the death of Superman? He had the long hair, but he had the receding hairline.
Yeah, I know.
And that threw me off.
He didn't fit the part.
And he was going to wear the black costume too. They removed the cape. And like in the comics, he had the long hair after he died. He came back. He had the black suit, no cape, long hair. Didn't know who he was. I think it was Tim Burton who was going to make this movie. This was back before Superman or Man of Steel. This is the 180th attempt to try to get a new Superman movie out there after, and it ended up becoming Superman Returns, where he had his son and everything. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. If you haven't by now, shame on you, because Superman Returns was actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
So Ghost Rider, Spawn. Oh, the one that we didn't mention, and Mr. Deadpool himself, Green Lantern. And they even made a good joke in the Deadpool movie. Please don't just give me a screen CGI suit. That was the line in Deadpool when he was getting turned into Deadpool.
I remember that.
I thought that was pretty funny that he made that little meta joke there. And he actually killed him.
I enjoyed
Deadpool 2, he shot Ryan Reynolds. When he was reading the script of Green Lantern, he shot him from taking it. That was good.
I enjoyed the Green Lantern.
Ryan Reynolds to me. Whoops. Oh, in case you're wondering what this is we're gonna do a series episode on Canon Films, one of the best movie studios that were out there that existed, and this is a 4-pack that I picked up, and we'll go into Canon Films some other time. In case you guys were wondering what this is. This is our mascot Forky from Toy Story 4, which is my consideration the best one. And then we have Combat Carl also from Toy Story 4. So I had a little bit of a theme going on this week with that. But anyway, Green Lantern. I actually did enjoy it, but again, they did the thing where they turned the villain into a big cloud.
Yeah, kind of like
which they did in the second Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver. You can't do that. You have to have a guy in a suit that is somebody who's a formidable enemy that he has to actually fight, and not just go and the cloud is gone. I mean, come on. And I love the CGI. I'm just going to leave it down. They loved it. The CGI was actually pretty decent.
I
what they had to do
that
with
movie. I mean, yeah, okay. The villain's a villain, whatever. They didn't. I agree with you that.
But Mark Strong was awesome as Sinestro.
That's what I was about to say.
And if they ever got to make a second one, if they ever make I know they're gonna have a Green Lantern TV series coming on HBO Max.
He'll be in it.
And I don't think so.
No, maybe the same guy, but it'd be.
I'm just saying it's supposed to have Sinestro as like they're gonna. But they should have made him the villain, and if they ever made a Green Lantern 2, he probably would have been the villain because he got the yellow ring finally at the end.
They'll have Guy Gardner in it. They'll have all the people like that in it.
Well, they're talking about making a movie, and they're going to have both Jon Stewart and, what's his name? Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan.
And they said they were going to make it like a buddy cop kind of movie where the two of them work together.
You know, I think what they should do, I mean, Hal Jordan is the main Green Lantern to me. But they have there's a good system where you have like you're saying for Buddy, take out Hal Jordan from that.
Are you doing whatever?
And put in no.
I thought you were saying whatever.
I was putting the two people together. But yeah, if you have the two other guys that I was mentioning earlier, now you made me forget what I was saying.
You were talking about some other guy who was a Green Lantern other than Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan.
Jon Stewart and
But the third guy you're mentioning had no mention. They did not mention his name at all.
He's a bumbling idiot, and he works perfect.
Maybe he'll be on the show.
He works perfect, and
I don't know if the show's going to be live action or animated, but I'm looking forward to it because I love.
He's been in the animation ones, cartoons with that. And
well, there's a whole Green Lantern Corps.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I'm sure that's what the show is going to cover is the whole Corps itself.
Guy Gardner.
Yeah. Okay, so in the comments below, tell us who your favorite of the incarnations of, not the actors who played him, but the actual character itself, either Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, or any of the ones, Sinestro, whoever. Who was your favorite Green Lantern out of all the names we mentioned? I'd like to know. I'm kind of curious because I think Hal Jordan, because I think Ryan Reynolds is awesome. He's got a movie coming out this summer, Free Guy. And that's that's a video game movie technically, so we
could have talked about
should not mention it until it comes out. Maybe I'll do a review of that. All right, did we cover everything?
I think we covered everything. I do want to say one thing.
Go ahead. Time's up.
Besides Vampirella that he already said I would recommend. Yes, I do.
Tell us out of the list. Tell us your recommendations, and then I'll tell my recommendations. That's a good idea.
Well, I definitely, from the ones that we just spoke about today, I definitely suggest watching Steel and Green Lantern. I definitely do not suggest watching Catwoman. Other than that, the rest of them are pretty good. And I did want to say, if you can go out and you can find Nick Fury, Mr. Perilla is fine. Now that was
Oh, the original Nick Fury movie.
The Nick Fury movie
with David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff. He was the best.
Oh, we
Nick
didn't mention
Fury
the
I've ever
Punisher.
had.
The Punisher
Three
with
different
Dolph
Punishers.
Lundgren.
3 different Punishers, yes.
Sorry, guys. Give us another 2 minutes. We have to talk about the Punisher. And I have it right there, and I wrote it off, but we didn't talk about it. Because there has been 3 versions of it. There was Punisher with Dolph Lundgren back in the 80s, early 90s. Then there was the one with John Travolta as the bad guy, and then there was
good.
Warzone, which was my
I
favorite.
didn't see that one.
I like the other one with Thomas Jane. It was good.
The one with where he fought John Travolta. It was where what's his name? Kevin Nash was in that. He fought Kevin Nash in that.
I don't remember that. All right, so go over your recommendations. You saying Green Lantern, yes.
Let's say Green Lantern, yes. Steel, yes. And no for Catwoman.
Okay, my recommendations: Spawn. If you like Michael Jai White and you like John Leguizamo, because John Leguizamo is one of those few comedic actors who can do pretty much anything. I recommend Supergirl. That was a decent watch.
That was a nice show.
If you guys like Superman, if you like to, if you can find a copy of it on Amazon, I recommend. If you can find a copy of the original Roger Corman Fantastic Four at a comic book convention or any of those conventions, you can usually find them in most stalls.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I've found it a couple of times actually. It's usually around $20, and that's a decent watch. I mean, the CGI is horrible. They didn't finish the movie. They had to say, add that thing where it says to be added later, kind of deal.
Is
Tank Girl, I definitely recommend.
Yes.
If you like Lori Petty, hot off the heels of A League of
basically
Their
everybody
Own.
on the list.
I would say Hellboy, both versions. And I liked in the second Hellboy how in the new one, they teased that Abe Sapien was going to be in the next one if they made another one. He came at the end of the movie. They mentioned his name.
See,
and it's a bummer because the Abe Sapien, I liked him in the original first 2 movies.
I was just recommending movies from what we talked about today, not about the last show.
And I recommend Barbed Wire because
You like the first
Pam
part
Anderson. I'm telling you guys, you can turn it off after the 5 minutes. First 5 minutes of the movie.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you. You said that it's hard to find that Fantastic Four movie. Which is harder to find, that one or the Star Wars Christmas special?
I couldn't tell you. Star Wars Christmas you could probably find on Amazon because it had an official release.
Did they have an official release now?
Fantastic Four, you can't because it never had a find. You can find it online, usually a crappy version, to watch on some third-party crap site. You might even find it on a torrent site. I'm not promoting those because they're illegal. And like I said, you can find Fantastic Four, the Roger Corman Fantastic Four, at a lot of conventions. I found it 3 times myself. But anyway, so we're wrapping this one up. That was part 2 of video game movies, good or bad. And as always, subscribe if you want to see more of the great content. Hit the notification for new videos. I'll leave a link above for part 1 of this if you missed it. Hit the like button. Wow, you did it on your own that time.
I do it every time on my own. You just stick your
And leave a
finger in my
comment
face.
below. And if you have any questions for us, if there's something you'd like us to answer on the show, let us know in the comments below. And we'll see you next time.